Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Professional Genealogist Reacts live stream. Thank you for joining today. I am Jarrett Ross, the Genie Vlogger, and we're gonna get things started in a second. Letting everybody come in as usual. I see we have a whole bunch of folks here already, so we'll do the typical of going through the hellos as people start to come in more and more. But starting out, we've got Tasha Carl. Hello from Minnesota. Hello, Tasha. And then we have How We Got Here Genealogy. Brian Nash. Hello, Brian. Good day. Good to see you. Alexandra. Good day, everyone. Greetings from Koblenz, Germany. Greetings, Alexandra. Good to see you as always. And Anna Tommaso. Hello from Rochester, New York. Well, welcome as usual. Thank you for joining, Anna. And we have our Scandinavian representation with Stig from Oslo, Norway. Hello, Stig. Good to see you. And we have Dan Edwards. Hola. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Julia. Hello, everyone, and greetings from North Baddesley, England. Greetings, Julia. Thank you for joining as usual. And James Burton as well. Hello from London, UK. Hello, James. Thank you for joining as well. Berke Sulek, hoi from Amsterdam. Ipa ready, Crips ready, Jarrett Ross on. Oh, hoi hoi. Ik geloof dat je kijkt elke vrijdag. Dank je wel voor dat. En tweede Amsterdammer in the stream. I don't up the stream. I'm not sure how to say that. But Rob here, Oak, good evening from Amsterdam once again. Just got back from Oslo, seeing some ancestral places. Unfortunately, the archive in Oslo didn't have a whole lot, so no progress. Oh, well, sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that you had it sounds like you had a good trip overall, at least. Well, I guess, just got back. Yeah, seeing some ancestral places, that's the part that I think is the good part. Even though you didn't find stuff in the archive, that's a shame. Bearvar, hi from Zurich. Hello, Bearvar. Good to see you. Thank you for joining as usual. And another Maven 2 met a very interesting and helpful genealogist. I'm trying to recruit him to WikiTree now. Okay, yeah. Is he on any of the, or I guess I don't know if it's a he. Are they on any of the other collaborative trees, or are they just kind of like one of those like offline, do their own thing sort of people? Or I guess you could still be doing stuff on Ancestry and not be in the collaborative trees. But either way, Dan, Ancestry keeps trying to suggest a mother for one of my great-great-great-great-grandfathers, but I think it's wrong. Might make a good study for your tree research videos. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you should submit that for one. That's actually, that'd be an interesting one to do. Something where it's like, see what another's thought on a questionable connection is. But I will say one thing with I don't know if you're talking about ancestry through lines necessarily, or if it's just the hint. But one thing I realized in filming a recent video that should be coming out hopefully in the next few weeks, basically talking about different sites, and one of the things talking about Ancestry with their through lines is that you can't reject incorrect through lines. Like, they just stay there. You can review them, whereas on MyHeritage, they actually have it where you can say accept or reject, so that you can at least keep track of what have you already reviewed and know, like, that's wrong. Because as many of us know, through lines and the theory of relativity on MyHeritage, they get stuff wrong because it's based off of trees people have built. And same stuff that, the regular suggestions non-DNA are too. So if that's the case, but yeah, you probably already all know that. James Burton, organizing my digital genealogy files while listening into the stream. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Carmagal, hello from Nebraska. Hello, Carmagal. Good to see ya. And James Delaney, will you be going through Pope Leo is it the 14th? I'm trying to remember. 10, yeah. 14th, right? I think I got that right. Yeah. All right. That's really interesting. I should do that. I've already seen all the articles and stuff, and maybe we'll go into some of it that another genealogist looked into the new pope's family tree, and he has Creole ancestry, and so he has known African ancestry, and apparently he's got a really interesting family tree. Came out of Chicago, which was cool because I lived in the suburbs of Chicago for some years when I was a kid. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. That's a good idea. Hi, Mom. This is my mom coming in from Cary, North Carolina. And then, yeah, Dan, sounds like a good idea, as it will mean research in diverse regions. And I'm just seeing this now, too. Thank you very much, Dan, for the $2 donation. Second in the notion for you to do the new Pope's tree. Yeah, I think I definitely will do that. I don't know if I'll necessarily do that today, because it'd be something I'd want to probably advertise as its own stream. But yeah, I should do that. I'll do that. I'll probably do that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nick, goedenavond van Groningen in Nederland. Het is good. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to say it's good to see you here. I need to figure that out. Put it in the chat how to say that, because I feel like that's one of those ones where it's like I have to say some sort of weird thing for someone from an English speak, like one of the flipped subjects and verbs and all that. 04 Lightning fan, didn't think you were starting until 5. No, I don't know if I think I usually start around 4:00 nowadays. Recently, I think I've done a few that were a little earlier. But hello, 04 Lightning fan from Tampa Bay. And then we have Charlie. Evening. Good evening, Charlie. Good to see you as usual. Our wonderful mod admin. And Retro Rob Casa, Australia, checking in. Hello, all. Well, good morning to you in the future of Saturday. Good to see you. Lois Rogers from Vermont and Massachusetts. Well, hello, Lois. Good to have you. And then we have Vicky B. Evening from Manchester. Evening, Vicky. Thank you for joining. Maven, the guy I met is an offline genealogy veteran. Okay, so yeah, one of the more old school folks that I run into all the time at like conferences and stuff where they, great genealogists, but they're, working offline. They don't even want to put stuff on Ancestry or MyHeritage or anything like that. And it's a shame because then, a lot of their research might get lost, unfortunately, I mean, that's the thing about a lot of genealogy research, and I think that's, kind of what a lot of us are trying to uncover a lot of times too, is that you have all these various people in the past and even today that do all of this research, and then it gets really hidden or really hard to find, or it just doesn't move on. And, if you don't put it out there in a way that other people can see it and build off of it and all that, it can get lost. Yeah. Randall Gunn, hello. Randall from Las Vegas. Well, hello. Thank you for joining, Randall. And then James, I would have suggested the new Pope's tree no matter who the Pope was, by the way. Yes, it is the 14th. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing is if it was a Pope from, a country that's really difficult to research, probably be very limited. But luckily with him being from the U.S., not only do I know what to do to find all that stuff, and it's obviously very easy with just ancestry hints and all of that, but I know that it's available. And then when they updated countries and remove the countries, do you still have it or not? I'm guessing this question is about your ethnicity admixture, and basically, the way to think of the admixture percentages is not that, you are this percentage of, English, like you're 43% of you is English. Like that's not really it. What it's saying is that of the DNA they've tested of you, 43% of that correlates to the population group that they've defined as English. How do they define that group as English? Well, they have a big group of testers who live in England today. A lot of times I'll find people that basically say, yes, as far as I know, all of my ancestry is English. And And then using all of that information, they come up with these population groups, and then that's what's correlating. So when they update it, that's basically just saying that, okay, now that we have an updated version, basically meaning that they've done more research and found something that they are they feel is more reliable, then that's what the reading is. So asking of, do you still have it or not, it doesn't really, just because you get a percentage doesn't mean you actually have that ancestry. I talk about this all the time. The admixtures are not that genealogically useful. Yeah. So, the other thing with it too is that often it's just a regional breakdown difference. So whatever you didn't have before, probably if you look at what you have now that you didn't have before, it makes sense of, oh, well, that might have gone here, that might have gone there, stuff like that. So, yeah. Nick, Lokjever Tazine. Okay. Lokjever Tazine. Like you know to what? Wait. Okay. Yeah. Lokjever Tazine. Ver? There. Yeah. Lokjever Tazine. Yeah. I just finished a lesson. I've been going through the lessons on the whole on het thing, Ik ben zwemmen, or wait, no. Wait, how is it? Ik ben on het zwemmen? Is that like something like that? I need to go over it. That's the stuff that's the hardest, is when it's like kind of flip-flopping and stuff. Retro Rob Casa, 6 a.m. here. Need a coffee, but can't make noises. I will wake up the family. Latte with 2 sugars, please. Okay, so yeah, 6 a.m. out in Australia. And then Jose Lopez, just like what my middle sister, finding out that part of her genetic makeup is 43% Native South American, with evidence of it from Machu Picchu, Peru. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, with 43%, it's like, yeah, okay, Native South American, and evidence of it from Machu Picchu, Peru. But then, of course, it's just evidence. We don't know for sure until you research further. So, okay, I should mention at this point, I feel like we've gotten a lot of people in the chat at this point watching. If you do have a question about your genealogy, your DNA, or whatever, post it in the chat. I don't guarantee that I'll be able to answer all the questions that get posted in chat, just because sometimes chat goes pretty fast. But I do guarantee that if you post a super sticker or a super chat, I think it's technically what it's called. So I have that little thing up there. If you do that, then I guarantee I'll answer those questions. Along with that, for this stream, I have a goal again, which basically is if I get 5 super chats, I guess within the next 24 minutes at this point, then we'll watch a preview of the upcoming YouTuber Family Tree episode on Max Muller's family and their service in World War II. So that'll be coming out sometime this weekend, but maybe you'll get a 4.5-minute preview today if we hit that goal. So all the donations and everything, I really appreciate that. It helps me keep the channel going and helps me being able to survive and actually do content creation, which it's been a little bit more difficult lately. But yeah, it's very, very appreciated. So with that, I saw Karma. Last year, I had the fortune of meeting 2 of my DNA matches, and they are also DNA matches to each other. Oh, that's very cool. So I guess with you just saying DNA matches, I'm guessing you don't know how you are related to each other yet. But I guess if you're all matching each other, is it? Are you thinking that's triangulated, or is it kind of more of a it's a coincidence? Like you're related in one way, this other DNA match is related another way, and then they just happen to be related through a whole other third way or whatever. So. It takes a lot in, since for me and my sisters, it was in our past. Okay. And yes, you're welcome, Randall. You're welcome. Okay. Let me see. Check one thing. I'm going to pull up a different page. So we can share. Yeah, this story about the Pope and the genealogy stuff is CNN, USA Today, New York Times. Yeah. Geez, I should have just done that for today. I wish I had thought of that before this this stream. Okay, well, wait, where's Pope Leo? See his family lineage and history. I bet there's like a bunch of people already doing research. Okay, this page is okay. Hopefully, I'm not glitching out too much for all of you because my internet got slowed down by that site. I don't know if other people have that happen, but when I go to news sites all the time, they put so many ads on the pages that it constantly has issues. Half the time, I can't even see the freaking article. Okay. Let's see. All right. I'm back. Let's see. Jose, hey, I'm proud to come from a Mexican background. Very interesting. With the South American, huh? Are you like more Southern Mexican ancestry? I guess I've seen a few results for people with Mexican ancestry, and I don't know if I've seen that high of a native South American. I feel like it's usually more central, but I could be wrong. Karma, we actually do my great grandmother. My one DNA matches great grandfather, and the other one's great grandfather, all siblings. Okay, cool. So you know that how you're all related. Never knew them before. All right. So let's see. So I'm gonna try to pull this up. James Martinez. Okay, I need to. Guess New York Times isn't gonna let me. Okay, we'll go off of this. Joseph Martinez. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Just need to see that gravestone. I guess or the census record. That's fine too. I don't want the actual news article. Why do I keep doing the wrong thing? Open image. I just want the image. That's all I want. Okay, so Joseph Martinez, born 1864. Okay, Joseph Martinez, born 1864. Bet anything there's going to be just a ton of people who've already. Look at all the private member photos. Yeah. So there we go. Okay. "48 people have added this to their trees." Okay. The in tree. Not sure where the Pope is. I guess he's somewhere in this tree somewhere. If I have this correct. Let's see, Pope Leo. Let's go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Let's see. Who are his parents? There we go. Born Mother Mildred Martinez Provost. Okay. So this is the new Pope's mother. Human tree. The father. French. It's interesting that popes choose their own name. I know monarchs similarly do that, but they have to choose one of the names they were born with. AFAIK. I don't know. As far as I know, I don't know nothing. His father is Louis Marius Provost, born in 1920 Chicago. Okay. So here he's just Louis, but I guess let's see. Jean Senti Provost. Louis Marius. Huh. All right. The thing everybody's interested in is this side because it's, has that Creole flair. So Italian, Louisiana, Montreal, Guadeloupe, France, Louisiana, Hamoy. According to WikiTree, he married Mildred in 25 January 1949 in Chicago. Let's do we'll do a search for Louis here, living in Cook, Illinois, good old Cook County. I came out of Kane County. Shout out Kane County Cougars. If anyone here actually lives in Kane County, they probably are like, what? His wiki tree was very lacking of as of yesterday. Oh yeah, I should check Genie. I have to be really careful though because of my curator privileges. Yeah, I bet he's. So Louis Marius. Here's Manius, son of John Prevost and S.M. Faber. What is it? What was the thing that somebody was asking about? I could have sworn someone had said, "Can we find this record?" Unless I'm like crazy. I'm a nutcase. I wonder how often these pages have all been like visited in the past few days. Whoa, did Find a Grave update their website or something? I'm like trying to. Okay, so it's definitely not a. Did they update their website? Let's see. We'll just do that. Did they are all profile? Okay, interesting. I don't know if I've. Oh, that's the look of a sponsored page. Okay. Interesting. Illyrian, the mother of Pope, are Spanish, right? So not. I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily Spanish. They obviously have a Spanish last name with Martinez, but it seems like it'd be better to find them as a Creole family. They have Italian, French, seemingly some sort of Hispanic ancestry. Yeah. Carmigale, Find a Grave doesn't seem to be working on Safari on my phone. Works with Chrome though. Yeah, Maven 2 is the only normal Find a Grave user. I don't know. I find a lot of really normal users on there. I mean, I've found some people that like really go above and beyond to help out. In all honesty, like Find a Grave is really weird. I think the thing with Find a Grave, which if anyone doesn't really know what the deal with Find a Grave is, go check out my video after this stream all about it called The Curious Case of the Body Counters. That isn't intriguing enough. I don't know what is. But maybe I'm biased on that. But anyway, I find like there are a lot of Find a Grave users that are like their thing is all about I am doing something that is literally directly helping people. But yeah, I get sick of the page hoarder still. Yeah, and that's the thing about it is there's so many of those terrible types of users on there. Even though there's such a small minority of the overall user base, they make enough of an impact because they touch on so many memorials. But on top of that, they're doing a lot of really questionably ethical things or unethical things, I guess. Bob Mitch, there's a problem on the Pope's paternal grandmother. Is she Suzanne Faber or Suzanne Fontaine? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I hadn't looked at things in depth enough. I know one thing that I've run into sometimes when I see stuff like that is that it could be a matter of having been married multiple times. And so, maybe, I see Fontaine's the father's name here. So maybe she had another husband at another point named Faber. I don't know. If she did, my guess is it'd be after the death of Jean Lanty. Let's see how she's buried as Prevost. But yeah, I don't know. Anna, I find some will help and others just want numbers with Find a Grave. Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, some just want numbers, but I've found that the people that are helpful on Find a Grave have been some of the most going above and beyond in their helpfulness. Like overall, like I've had a lot of people. I mean, I guess I get a lot of help. I've gotten a lot of help throughout the years on various groups that are genealogy based. Like Facebook groups are a huge one. I've gotten tons of help from, and then obviously like various forums in different places and Discord groups and the Reddit groups and all of that. But the thing is that like with Find a Grave, even though they have that bad part, I feel like I always do want to hit on that. That there are some really amazing users on there, and maybe I'm just lucky in that I've dealt with a lot of them, but I've dealt with at least a dozen different people that have been really cool people. Granted, I've also probably dealt with maybe at least a half a dozen people who were not, because they were body counters. Karma, I dislike the body counters. Had 2 friends pass away. I was fortunate to have their family's permission and had added them before the body counters did. Yeah. It's so much worse when it's children. Yeah. And Karma got Charlie agreed. Yeah, and for anyone who follows Daniel Loftus, who's a really awesome genealogist out of Ireland, he's made quite a name for himself, even for being such a young guy. And he's been a big part of, like, trying to get Find a Grave to correct their issues. And I interviewed him in that video that I was talking about going into Find a Grave. And every time there's like a big event that there's, multiple casualties for something like, a huge newsworthy event, he always goes and takes a look at Find a Grave. And every single time he does it, the first he's hearing about this news, he goes on Find a Grave and almost always finds someone has already made profiles for those people. And he often will try to, there are rules on Find a Grave that those people are breaking. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people have put forward of, Find a Grave could do this and it'd make it so much better. But yeah. And it's Amaso. I've had a lot of wonderful experiences. However, my worst was trying to gain access to a dead first cousin. Oh yeah. Yeah. And with the rules on Find a Grave, with it being like close relatives, it has to be an ancestor, if I remember correctly. Unless maybe they've updated things. It's been a while. When I did that video about Find a Grave, I forgot exactly who it was in Find a Grave, but someone who was like one of the managers or something there reached out to me and sent me an email thanking me for the video and then kind of saying, here's our piece. And I actually asked them, would you be okay with me putting your statement as the, pinned comment in there? And they said yes, which as well pull that up. Because I felt like, it's like, I'm not necessarily like a journalist. I think of myself more as a content creator in a sense, but with something like that, I feel like I need to make sure I put on more of a journalism hat. And so it's like part of that is getting all sides of it. And so, what am I searching? Curious case of the body counters. So this is the video. So yeah, this is the video. Oh gosh, look at how much skinnier I was then. I'm going to get my beard trimmed today. My mom, I know, is probably, she hates it this long, but yeah, I did this whole video. But anyway, okay, so where is that? Okay, weird. For some reason it got unpinned. I need to repin this. Okay, so yeah, so here's, I don't know how easily readable this is going to be on here right now. Okay, so yeah, so I was contacted by Peter Drinkwater, general manager of Find a Grave. Jeez, my internet stuff is going so slow right now. Close out some stuff. And so this was kind of what he sent me of, here's to clarify. So yeah, the period during which memorials for recently deceased folks show in a limited view is 90 days. So They do actually have that. And then in addition to the 90-day limited view, family members can automatically take management of a memorial for 1 year from the time of burial. We do have checks in place to limit the number of relatives a member can claim. Coming up with the numbers was tricky, and we did a fair amount of all that. Yeah, so won't go too much into it, but definitely for anyone who's very curious about all of this. Yeah, let's see. Here's Daniel. So this video is from a few years ago now. Yeah, July 8th, 2022. So coming up on 3 years. On 3 years. Okay, let's see. Karma, I only use the newspaper site to update the profiles I'm able to add for my cemetery walks that I add, not recent ones. Interesting. Yeah. Anna, the worst part was this guy died by suicide, so you think they would give my family some grace before uploading it. Yeah. Karma, I had to email support from my paternal grandpa, half great grandaunt, my uncle, and my paternal great great grandparents. Let's see. Sherry, back when Find a Grave was new, my mom and I photographed thousands of headstones, the vast majority not related to us. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of people who've done that. And I know, like, I've done cemetery walks and try to take photos and stuff, and it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest. Maven too. I know I had a lot of thoughts on that video, but probably all in Discord. Yeah. Yeah. I felt the video was very fair. Like, I do get some really big comments from people that are like, that don't like my video. But then, like, I don't know, like, I find more often than not, even like the really in-depth Find a Grave users are like, yeah, we agree. We hate these types of people that do this. Yeah, like here. Oh, that's crap. You are making a mountain out of a molehill. Most funeral homes post memorial pages and encourage relatives and friends to post pictures and stories of the recently deceased. This is no different. And then my comment, if you want to be so callous about it, that's your prerogative. But posting a memorial page or obituary at the request of the family is quite different than what these people are doing. Yeah. So, yeah, not everybody agreed with my take, and some people had their own various takes. So, yeah, the ones that didn't like the video are probably body counters. Very true. Very true. Maven, I do remember getting one of the all-time top contributors banned because he was using rural cemeteries with no memorials to stack thousands of duplicates for getting his numbers up. Wow. Yeah. You know, one thing I will say is that, like, a lot of people really vilify the whole gamification of it. Basically, that's one of the big issues with it, is that a lot of people are just focused on having a huge number of Find a Grave memorials that they manage. And, you know, that's not really good. And while I do agree in a lot of ways, I think that there is some benefit to the gamification of it. It's just that they need to be much better in terms of creating rules to avoid these other issues with it, as well as following through in getting rid of people that don't follow that. Bob Mitch, I don't know if you're still with the new Pope's genealogy, but the tree you showed with his grandmother, Suzanne Louise Marie Fontaine, if that's really her, has a mistake. She was born on February 2nd, 1894 in the town of Le Havre, Normandy, not Ramerupt Aube. Yeah, I hadn't looked into it. I wasn't going to look too in-depth into it because I figured I'm probably, maybe next week, I guess we'll have to see how everything goes. I'll probably do a stream dedicated to looking into the family tree. I just figured, while there's no questions being asked, it'd be perfect to just kind of peruse around and get a feel for. But I should also mention once again, if anyone wants to ask a question, I guarantee I'll answer any super chat, super sticker question donations and all that. But ask your question in chat. You don't necessarily have to pay to do it. The only thing is that I don't guarantee I'll answer every question that gets asked in chat, especially if there's a time where chat's going fast, because it does happen. Maven, my big idea back then was that Find a Grave could easily make a way to detect quality edits and contributions, like transforming a profile not managed by you or adding grave photos into a point score. That would be good. In fact, I feel like that would be the type of thing where you get a higher point score. And honestly, they should hit up the people at WikiTree to figure that out, because WikiTree, oh my gosh, they do they do such a good job with their challenges and setting that up and doing the point system, and those are so cool. It's something I've spoken to the manager of Genie about, like, have you considered doing stuff like that? Because WikiTree is killing it with those. And especially with a collaborative family tree, I feel like you need to have a lot of people on board with each other. And so having these challenges where you're having a large user base working together and then seeing each other's work and all of that, it can actually create a much more cohesive research work environment for everyone on that site, which is one of the things I think is such a big benefit for WikiTree. Like Genie curators and stuff, like we're all very friendly and we hang out. Like it's always great to see them. But I always feel like when I see all the WikiTreeers, like the WikiTreeers have a bigger, more tight group in some ways sometimes. And I think a big part of that comes out of the challenges and social events that they do. Maven, basically count contributions over just memorials managed and created. Yeah, I think that would be good. The thing is that, you know, I get it's I don't know. It's a good idea. Karma, body counters don't like relinquishing the profiles of family members. I'm pretty sure that was the case, and why I had to email support. Yeah, those are the worst ones. I have found there are some body counters that when they are presented with here's somebody who needs to be the manager of this profile because they are a relative in the proper way, they're like, oh, okay, here you go. But there are some that do fight it. And I feel like the ones that really go against the rules, like don't follow the rules, they don't punish them enough, from what I can tell. But I also, I have a very limited view of what happens with people being punished, because, you know, the only ones I ever see are the ones where it's like, I know these users did something wrong. And then, you know, you see that they're still there doing stuff, and often similar stuff. Sandy and my mom, Bob Mitch, your cute dog looks a lot like Jarrett's dog, Jack. Just with Jack, my dog Jack has darker nose, and he has the pinkish skin, but he also has the like darker skin because he's so mixed, and it actually makes it so that his eyes look like he has eyeliner, because it's like colored black, his skin like right along his eyes, and it's so funny. Like I point that out to people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that you're right." But it's like subtle, and you're like, "Why does your dog look so?" Yeah, but yeah, your dog looks very much like my dog Jack. Okay, let's get back. Okay. Gwen, grandparents died 2022. Very sorry to hear that. Within 6 months of each other. By the time I went to find a grave, someone had already posted. I was able to get the profile. Oddly, it was this time I took up genealogy. Interesting. So that was kind of like the thing that got you going. Maven 2, we're in the era of AI. There's no way suspicious activity can't be detected on sites that track contributions. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't even consider the fact that people might be utilizing AI to just get stuff put in, like people gaming the system. Actually, one possible addition to your video is the new phenomenon of people getting tons of photos added by downloading black and white ones on pages and AI colorizing them badly and re-uploading them. Yeah, you're right. I have noticed that a lot of photos of like different ancestors and stuff, sometimes photos that I uploaded back when I first got into like doing online genealogy, which is about 2009, 2008 actually, when I looked at my Ancestry profile, I realized I started it in 2008. But I always say that genie.com is what truly got me truly addicted to genealogy. Although I guess I was kind of into it for years and years. But Genie was what got me obsessed, and that was 2009. But yeah, a lot of people took a lot of photos I uploaded way back in the day, colorized them on like MyHeritage or other third-party photo colorizers, and then re-uploaded them. And then they're like, yeah, then like you have the same photo as 6 different suggestions, but it's just different colorized versions from people. Yeah, those ones annoy me a ton now, and I keep seeing more. Yeah, I guess it. Yeah. Julia Joyce, I'll have to look at your videos. I don't really know much about that site and body counters. Yeah, I don't know how many UK burials are on Find a Grave. I know there's stuff outside the US, but basically Find a Grave is just a website that literally is images and information about graves, stones. And it's especially useful for people that do Jewish genealogy because Jewish gravestones will write the Hebrew name, and Hebrew names are patronymics, meaning that the gravestone's often going to reveal the name of that person's father. So, yeah. Sherry, but what about people like my elderly mom who dropped out of doing genealogy or lost access to their email or died? Okay. I guess in terms of if they have Find a Grave, or I know at one point, I think it was a while back in the stream, but I was talking about, when you do genealogy, and if you don't put it online, not as many people access it. You have a higher chance of it possibly, falling out of remembrance, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. For a lot of genealogists, one of the things that they need to consider, and it's actually something I need to do myself, is that a lot of these sites will have beneficiary information so that if you do pass away, other family members can be able to contact that company and say, hey, we're a relative and we'd like access to all this stuff. And they know they can do that. Like, I know Family Tree DNA makes it really easy if you go into their settings. I don't know what all the sites do necessarily with it. But yeah, I don't know. That's the tough thing about the internet. Like, you don't know what's truly going to survive. And honestly, like, we don't, for all we know, 50 years from now, all the collaborative trees might not be available to access anymore. Carmigao, I did actually have one that was helpful. He added my Aunt Day, her obit ran, but to the wrong cemetery. I asked if he could transfer it to me. His response was immediate, and he transferred her. Yeah. Staywick, have you got the 23andMe email that some have got from Kroll about claims? Are we hacked? Yeah, I don't know. It sounds kind of like a scam. Yeah, maybe that's a scam. Okay. Yeah, that sounds scammy. Randall Gunn, do you think CRI Genetics would be a good company to test with? If you want to do genealogy, no. I would say test with Ancestry would be my first suggestion, because they have the largest database of people to match against. And then you can download that DNA and upload it to a large multitude of websites. And even more than that, CRI Genetics is not a website that I really recommend for people that want to do genealogy, which is my focus. So, in fact, I get asked that all the time about CRI Genetics. And for years, I had people asking me about whether or not I would do a like a video about them or something. And I just, every time I looked into it, it was like, oh, well, they don't have DNA matching. Okay, well, then I'm not going to do it. I did feel like I heard they do DNA matching now, but I don't really know much about it. So I'd have to look into it. But even if they do, their database is probably crazy small. And if I remember correctly, you can still upload to their site. It might cost some money, but you can't upload into Ancestry, and Ancestry has the largest database. So Ancestry is kind of like the best site to do the initial test with, especially if you're limited on funds, not able to do multiple tests. And then Sherry, relinquishing to family members. Okay, yeah. I guess you're kind of answering your own question from earlier. And yeah, okay. So I don't really get this question. Wonder what the likelihood of my paternal great grandfather on my grandfather's side being born in 1912. I don't know. I don't know if there's a statistical likelihood about that. So yeah. And Jed Match. I guess you're kind of is this a follow-up question? Is this a good company? They don't sell DNA tests, but I do highly recommend uploading to GEDmatch. It is free to upload to. There is a cost for the tier 1 membership, which are a bunch of advanced DNA tools that I would highly recommend if you're trying to do genetic genealogy. Although I would say don't pay for the tier 1 until you start getting to the point that you're ready to use those tools. I think it's only like $10 a month. Or I think it's $100 if you pay for a year. So it's not that much technically for GEDmatch. I mean, I know for some people that's not going to be the easiest to do. And being able to put your regular bills and all that. And especially, that's one of the difficult things with genealogy these days is just the fact that it does cost a lot of money. Having to have all these memberships and all these DNA tests and all this, comes out to a lot. And that's one of the things, like I'll tell people too, that we'll talk about, the thinking about hiring a genealogist, but they're not sure. And it's like, well, that's kind of one of the benefits if you hire a genealogist is they're going to have a lot of memberships to stuff that you're going to end up paying hundreds of dollars just to get those memberships. So, you kind of get a lot of use out of that because you might not use it all the time. Carmagal, the government a while back wanted to see the anonymous ethnicities of Vietnam vets, the ones still around. Blood sample. I was my dad's vampire for that. Interesting. Penny, do you have any suggestions for family tree software that doesn't cost a week's salary? I'm not a big fan of offline softwares. I totally understand why a lot of people do like them, and I do have a limited experience with a lot of them because I haven't really used them since, probably the early 2000s, maybe. Yeah, I guess that would have been it. Maybe 2004, 2005 was the last time I ever used that. That was when I was doing genealogy in high school and middle school. Very, very limited. Like very, very limited. So I don't know. I mean, the ones that I always hear about for offline software is Roots Magic and Family Tree Maker. I know there's a lot of other ones out there too. But for me, I just kind of prefer using something like Genie or WikiTree or Ancestry. I mean, my best preference is Ancestry because the record database and the integration with that family tree is one of the best. But you are very limited if you don't have the membership, and that costs a lot of money. Definitely more than a week's salary. Well, I guess it depends on what you get. But if you want the full access of stuff, it costs more. So yeah, I mean, you can find workarounds for stuff with that for family tree builders, family tree software. But yeah, I really don't have a good answer, unfortunately. Yeah, and Randall, you're welcome. Karma, I would have loved it not to have been anonymous and gotten the results. Yeah. John Tyner, good evening from Ireland. Was working on Maurice Gleason's family this week. Very cool. Well, thank you for joining, John. Always good to have you. We've been talking a bit on and off about WikiTree today, actually. How we got here, genealogy, my heritage's family tree builder. I like that it syncs with online. Okay, I didn't know that they had a offline family tree builder. So, and then and it's Mosso, don't use Family Tree Maker anymore, but it was helpful when I was starting out back in 2008. Yeah, when I was first starting out, um, honestly, in the 90s was when I first started, really. I think Family Tree Maker was the software that I was given. Um, so I started back, let's see, I would have been 7 or 8 years old. So this would have been 94, 95. And I'd gone to my cousin's bar mitzvah, and my uncle had a printout of our Nunes Vaz line tracing to the 1600s, and I was like mind blown. And that was the first time I like wanted to get into it. And somehow a cousin on my dad's side found out about it, and so he paid for me to get I think it was Family Tree Maker. And then at that time, it might have been that time, or it might have been a little bit after that, Ancestry.com wasn't Ancestry.com. They were just Ancestry, and you would order CDs from them with records on it. And that was like the first things I got. Like, I think I got 3 different like record sets. And so I would build like my family tree and deal with stuff then. But like, I want to say, yeah, I was probably middle school, high school, like probably still using Family Tree Maker. And that was the last I had really had any experience with it. John Tyner, I've always used Family Tree Maker, though haven't used it in years, but have it stored on an external hard drive. Yeah. James Burton, I've also stopped trying to use Family Tree software. I have Roots Magic, but I never use it. My Ancestry tree is my main tree now. I periodically export the tree as a backup. Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people suggest. Download a GEDCOM of your tree every once in a while and store it somewhere. Maven 2, I have some Family Tree Maker discs older than me and codes that were never redeemed. Yeah, actually, I have a couple of Family Tree Maker CDs right on my counter, like right behind me. I was going through some stuff the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I have these. How funny. I think they're like the 2016 or 2017 version or something like that. Sherry Stokes' personal ancestral file was free but is now defunct. But if you can find someone with a copy, yeah, you could probably find all sorts of like free third-party versions of Ancestry software. Granted, you got to be really careful about that. So if you don't really know a lot of in-depth stuff about computers, probably not the best thing to do. But yeah. Gwen, Mac Family Tree and its mobile version, 50% off right now, offline and online. Interesting. Karma, I still have Family Tree Maker, but when I open it, fairly glitchy. I know when I was at Roots Tech last year or the year before, I know I spoke to Roots Magic a bit. And in fact, I think when I was doing the live stream, I had a lot of people, or there was someone in the chat that was like, talk to Roots Magic, talk to Roots Magic. And then I did. And then it was like, they didn't have anybody who was like, they were like, don't talk to us. Don't talk to us. The guy that's going to talk is somewhere else. We're just helping with the booths. Okay. Inzersdorf 93. I uploaded my DNA test data from Ancestry and MyHeritage, and it's processing for 3 weeks now, even though they say it takes 7 days. Yeah, I actually did an upload of some DNA not too long, or I guess it's been a while now. I don't remember how long. I guess it has to have been at least 3 weeks myself. But yeah, it's been taking a while. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, I mean, you just got to wait, unfortunately. Leslie, Find a Grave is a huge help for me in USA research. It was the first of its kind, and others who came after were able to learn from Find a Grave's mistakes. Admins are the best. Yeah. I mean, Find a Grave definitely is extremely useful for US research. There's so much that you can find from it. And, even though I mentioned before with Jewish gravestones, you have the patronymics on there, so you get the father's name. It's still really helpful to find graves for people, because sometimes if you notice that it's like a really small cemetery or a small community and you've got your family's last name, we'll just look and see what other graves in that cemetery have that same last name. And, by having all this up there, people don't have to make the trips to the cemetery to see all of that. 04 Lightning, I like the Roots Magic syncs with both Ancestry and Family Search Only $40. Update to new versions only $20, even if you skip a version. Very cool. How we got here? Yeah, I had Family Tree Maker and a stack of like 24 CDs with Ancestry info. Yeah, I think my family only got me like 3 or 4 of the CDs, and then like I was probably too young to really know to tell them to order more. And I was young. I didn't really, I'd hit a brick wall with what I had, and then I'd always inevitably, like, whatever girl I had a crush on at that time, I'd make a fake family tree with her and have like this descendancy tree going hundreds of years in the future that's just fake. And it was like, then I'd get bored with it and then spend a few years not doing genealogy, and then all of a sudden something would spark again and I'd get back into it and look into things and hit the brick wall again and then kind of do the same thing. Randall, Ancestry accurate in the results? Not quite sure what you're asking. I don't even know if you are asking a question. I don't know if that YouTube symbol's supposed to be a question mark or not. Karma Gal, mine is an old version though, early 2000s. Okay. Yeah, would love to be able to get a lot of data from. Are you heading out, Brian? How have a good week? Well, if you are, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And I don't know how much longer I'm going to stream. I actually got to go get my hair cut, my beard cut, and all of that today. So always have to make sure I take my dogs on a nice long walk before I do that. Karma, my gripe is with BG. You have to pay to unlock all of the features of the app. No. Okay. It's also clunky. Yeah, I have not used a lot of Billion Graves, to be honest, and I've heard good and bad things about it, but I will say there's a lot of genealogy sites out there that feel very clunky because a lot of them were made in like the early 2000s, and then there were very few updates. And like Jewish Gen, they've done updates, but it's like their search system is so bad. And like there's so many things that they could do for their search system that would make it 100 times more useful. Like all you can search on there is names and towns. You can't limit it by birth dates or ages, or like the best you can do is pay the donation fee, which is like 100 minimum, I think, and then you get 4 fields, but it's still all names and towns. And then there's a lot of like GEDmatch, honestly, they've done updates over the years, but it's still a very clunky feeling website, which makes it a little bit more difficult for people that aren't as computer savvy. Yeah, Billion Graves is the biggest ripoff in genealogy. James Burton, to be fair, it's actually free to build a tree on Ancestry, but obviously no access to the records. Yeah, very true. And then I think the other thing with it is, I know this is the case on MyHeritage, but I think doesn't Ancestry also limit how much you can build without paying for a membership? Like I don't know if it's a limit on the total size of the family tree or like a limit on how far back, but I think they have a limit. Leslie, they do get rid of volunteers not following rules, but they just create a new fake account. I had a super weird guy harassing me. He was removed and he got 30 new accounts. Admins helped me always. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, although I will say a user that is harassing someone, I could definitely, if they're not taking care of that, that's a seriously terrible issue. What the other thing, the thing that they really need to be going people after more in terms of, well, not more, but the thing that I'm really saying that, I guess, all right, let me rephrase. The thing that I'm really saying that I think they need to go after more than they are at this point are users that are not following the rules for creating new accounts, or not new accounts, but like new memorials and all of that. Like I think with a harassing thing, it's like, yeah, that guy, like they have to help you out with that. With the other thing, it's kind of like they should. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Randy 153 Fish, Legacy Family Tree version 10 is now free. Oh, okay. That might be useful. Randall Gwynn, are their results are their results accurate far as DNA? I'm guessing this is going back to your Ancestry accurate in results question thing. Yeah, I mean, the thing is when you say as DNA, well, yeah, they're pretty accurate. They have a 1% margin of error in terms of reading the DNA. So they're going to be reading 99% of the DNA that they're trying to read of your genome or better. So out of the 700,000-ish DNA markers they're testing, they're going to get about 99% of them. If you're talking about the admixture part, that's going to vary. You need to look up precision and recall stuff. I'm not going to go into that. And then if you're asking about the DNA matching, which is the most important part and the part that I think people should care about more than anything, yes, that's extremely accurate. Maven, the one thing I always remember being around was for some reason some random Indian guy attached himself as a descendant of William Boeing, founder of the company, and put a selfie of himself on there. Interesting. Yeah. I know I've seen that with genie.com where a lot of people will go in and create a fake tree that connects them to someone famous. And then usually it gets caught, but every now and again, I'll find ones that don't get caught. And, actually there's a video. I don't know if I've talked about this at all, and I'm trying not to talk too much about my video concepts I'm trying to work out. But one of my video concepts is, what president has the most living descendants? And I was going to go through every president and how many living descendants they all have. And in doing that, I found that there was one president where someone had made themselves a grandchild of the president and gave a fake parent and all this stuff. And it had been up for a couple of years. So sometimes that stuff slips through. And, that's the thing with collaborative trees too, is they get to a point that's so large that even if you have people policing the tree, it's very easy for stuff to slip through because it's so much. Leslie, admins of Find a Grave have good success with tracking volunteers who are being difficult with their IP address. Yeah. Gets difficult if they do VPNs or more more advanced stuff with that, if they're doing virtual machines and VPNs and all that. The bio made it look like a dating profile. Karma, when I added my one friend who passed in 2023, I made a note in her profile that to protect her family's privacy, I wasn't adding her obituary. Lois, have to go. Time to make dinner. Take care. Well, Lois, thank you very much for joining. Hopefully you have a good dinner. Honestly, you're not running out of here too far behind me because I'm probably going to end it here in a minute. So, yeah. And Randall thinks I'm new at it. Welcome to the fold, Randall. Keep watching videos, learn more about it. But, focus on the genealogy, focus on the DNA matches and how to use your matches to expand your tree, because then you're going to get the best stories of your family tree instead of just a generalized, well, I'm about 40% this and 20% that and all of that. So, get you on the side of good. Keep you from the dark side of admixture obsessions. Burke Sulek, I think it'd be very nice if you make videos on different GED match tools. Yeah, I've considered whether or not doing tutorials again. I haven't done tutorial videos in a long time because years ago I'd made the decision not to, because there were so many other channels that were doing great tutorials, Genealogy TV, Family History Fanatics, although I think they stopped putting out videos for a while, then they started doing it again, and then they stopped again. So I don't know if Devin's still back at it or not. But there's a lot of other channels too. Amy Cross has a great channel. Denise Allen Richards has a great channel. And there's a whole bunch of other ones. But part of why I also didn't do that was when I started to do a lot of stuff, one of my aims with this channel was to try to appeal to a much larger audience than most genealogy stuff appeals to. And a big part of that was because a lot of the content I would see for genealogy was stuff that I was like, it's helpful, but I dislike this. Like, I don't enjoy watching these videos to get the information like that. Like, I hate the very school like tutorial sort of stuff, and like I really didn't like that kind of stuff. Like, I like to learn, like I felt like I was always learning so much when I was watching Finding Your Roots or Who Do You Think You Are, just as much as I was learning from watching like hour-long webinar about someone going through a certain record set. And so for me, it felt very much like school, some of the stuff that when I got on YouTube in 2017 with my channel, there was like nothing. Family History Fanatics was not even a year old at that point. And as far as I could tell at that point, they were the only channel making interesting content. And even then, I felt like a lot of their content didn't really hit the feeling that I wanted out of content as much. So like my YouTuber Family Tree series probably hits that more than anything right now. And then a lot of other video, like the video I did about finding your, or not finding yours, find a grave and like other stuff. Like, it's just like, I wanted it to be entertaining. I wanted it to be something that even if you don't have an obsession about genealogy or history, that you would watch it and be like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I do enjoy it. And that kind of stuff. And so tutorials was one of the things that was like, well, that's going to be super limited because you can't do a tutorial and make it mass appealing. A tutorial is great for evergreen content, and that, I make a thing about how to use, the endogamy auto cluster, which is a video I did. Then, that is something that anytime anyone's going to use that, they're probably going to go and watch that video. And so that video is always getting good views, but I find that there's a more limited audience with that. And with that, the fact that there are so many great other channels, and yeah, I saw this John Tyner Genealogy Gems with Lisa Louise Cook, another great channel. There's just so many channels that do a lot. But with that said, I'm always learning about, how to better my channel and what I could do to do, better things or whatever. And so I was accepted to a program recently that only accepted like 25 educational YouTubers. And basically they've been doing these like weekly sessions with us and learning about stuff. And so, one of the things I learned about was the, what was it? The 3H rule, the hero, the help, and then the something else. I don't know. Maybe someone knows what I'm talking about because it applies to other stuff. But like one of the things they talked about was, not every video necessarily needs to be a massive, like, appeals to everybody video. And so having helpful videos can be good. So I might do tutorials again. And if I did, I'd probably try to do it on stuff that there aren't already a lot of tutorials out there. So, but yeah. And yeah, it's more fun to learn it from you. That's why you should do it. Yeah. So, and that's why I would, because I know some of you would really enjoy it. So yeah. Jessica James, you could do a video with different resources that we could utilize in various countries. Yeah, well, I mean, every country has so many resources. I mean, that's why I always talk about the Family Search Wiki. That's one of the best resources to find resources for everything. And one of the things interesting about genealogy that I heard said by Arthur Kurzweil, who's kind of like the grandfather of modern day Jewish genealogy, and someone who's been on the channel before, and a friend, he basically had said that, with genealogists, I guess not even necessarily genealogists, but with himself necessarily, but it really applies to all genealogists. It's not necessarily that we know a lot, which, I feel like a lot of us do know a lot, but it's not that we necessarily know everything. It's more of that we're really good at finding how to find the information and analyzing all of that. And so, that kind of is part of genealogy into itself, is just being able to utilize anything that you have to come to your research goal, I guess. So it's like, if you're trying to research this country, okay, well, what are the steps I go about to figure out what is available and how I can get it and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, okay, well, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. I went a little bit longer than I was hoping to, but kind of gave myself a little leeway. So, thank you, everybody. I do have a big announcement right now, though. So, don't jump away just yet. Nothing crazy, but I've been, like I just mentioned, I'm always trying to better the channel and do different things. And I've been thinking about my live streaming stuff lately about, the scheduling I'm doing and how I've been doing it. And it hasn't been growing as large as not as large, but it hasn't been growing at a pace that I've been hoping it would. And so I'm going to take a little bit of a pivot, and I'll still be streaming every Friday. So Elke Vrijdag, ik ben here. Yeah, every Friday I'll still be here, but instead of streaming on the main channel one week and then the reaction channel the other week and going back and forth, for the next foreseeable future, I'm going to try streaming only on the main channel. So I won't be streaming through the reaction channel anymore. We'll see how things go. If for some reason something happens where I'm like, okay, I need to go back to the other way, I will do that. But we're going to be trying that out. So on top of that, a couple of other things I do want to mention. If anybody does want to have me help them with their genealogy much more in depth, I am offering way more consultation hours now. I'm trying to do a lot more of these. I've been doing a lot, like over the past few weeks. I've probably done at least a dozen, if not more. And basically just shoot me an email at genievlogger@gmail.com saying that you're interested in doing a one-on-one consultation. I do them in 30 minutes or for an hour. And, you'll have me being able to go in depth into the stuff for you. And so I've been finding that it seems to be very helpful for a lot of people that have gone through it so far. Not sure if anyone in the chat has done any consultations with me. I know Carmigel has, and yes, or you can also get consultations through Patreon if you'd like to do that. Carmigel has done that. She's been actually one of my biggest Patreon supporters, which I truly, truly appreciate. But yes, you can also do one-on-one consultations there. So all of that. And then the last big updates this weekend, you're going to have a lot of new content to watch from me. So keep an eye out for the main channel. Obviously Mondays, I've got my reaction videos still coming out on this channel, on the reaction channel. So yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all the updates. And then another big shout out to Dane Edwards for the $2 donation. I think next week I will very, very likely be doing the Pope's family tree for that. So yeah, definitely do that, Karma. There's yeah, shoot me a message. You've already got my contact on there. So all right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all joining me today. You have a wonderful rest of your Friday, or if you're like Rob Casa and you're in Australia, have a wonderful rest of your weekend because you're already in the future. It's Saturday. And I guess some of you Europeans and far Western Asian areas, yeah, you got it too. Put 2 celeb suggestions in Discord. Very cool. And I guess one last shout out. If you're not in the Discord, definitely check out the Discord. You can suggest all sorts of stuff there. Great community. Have a wonderful rest of Friday and weekend. Yeah. Thank you very much, Gina. I saw you jumped in here even for 5 minutes, And yeah, sorry, Ron, you missed it, but go back and watch. We talked about some fun stuff today. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I am Jared Ross, a Genie Vlogger,